What a great idea for coming out to Fiesta Island. Well, hello you guys. I'm out here in Mission Bay. I just went for a bike ride. As many of you know, my dog died 3 weeks ago. And after the bike ride, I just couldn't help but break down. Max would have been running all over here, smelling everything. It's been a couple of days that I've been laying in bed too much. I think maybe it's because of depression, because of my dog. Because before, when Max was there, I could have gotten up and came here. But now it's like the last few days I've just been in bed. For a number of reasons also. It's not just because of Max. You know, my ear has been bothering me, my eyesight. Also the frustration when I went to see the trailer, that Airstream. I guess I put my hope too high. I was really expecting to have found a gem. I knew it needed work. I knew that. I knew it was all gutted, but it was more than what I thought it needed work. I have found a couple more. One of them is over towards Sacramento, and then the other one is in Modesto. I think they're asking $1,700. So I thought, well, if I can negotiate and tell them, hey, I'm coming from San Diego, would you go down to $1,400 maybe? At least start there, $1,400. And it looks really, really nice. I think it's 19 feet. The one in towards Bakersfield, Sacramento is like almost 20 feet, I think. But I did send them a message and ask them how many feet is it. But it has a very interesting layout. I think that one is 1,700 or 1,800. But it's got a really interesting layout that I really liked. And I'm waiting for their reply, see what they say. If it's not over 25 feet, then I'll most likely try to negotiate and come up there. And that one is fair living condition. The bathroom's clean. Yeah, you know, that's very clean. So this morning I said, man, I can't believe I'm going to stay in bed again. I think a lot of you know that I've been talking to the chat GPT thing, and it's been really, really helpful, you guys. I mean, really, really helpful. I've been writing a song called Via Dolorosa, and it's about Christ walking through that road when he was going to go to get crucified. I'll upload a video later about that, a music video. And then all of a sudden I said, I was watching like a bunch of videos on YouTube, like I want to know more about this Via Dolorosa thing. And I couldn't find what I was looking for. And I said, I want to know more details, more facts, what happened, you know, what was it like? So after a while I said, dude, you have a frickin' Bible, man. A nice one too. I said, you got a Tom reference chain Bible, man. I said, that's where your answers are gonna be. So all of a sudden I said, well, where do I start? So I go into ChatGPT and it said, you know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But Matthew and Luke were the ones that were the most descriptive. So I started reading Matthew chapter 24, and I went all the way to 24, 25, 26, 24, 25, 26, 27. I've never read that much. And I loved it, man. It was just powerful. I mean, it was really powerful. They hadn't even gone into the crucifixion yet, or the Pontius Pilate thing. It was barely starting to go into that. But man, everything I was reading in there was just fascinating. Because many times I stay up really late at night, like 12:30, 1 in the morning, editing music on Logic Pro 10 and learning about frequencies, sound frequencies, you know, what this does, what that does. And it's a lot of fun, but man, I said, I gotta stop going to sleep so late, and I gotta give myself a time to stop. So anyway, so this morning I felt again that, oh man, not again. Like, wow. Talk to ChatGPT, I said. And again, it came through. It came through with some encouragement. And immediately it said, why don't you go ride your bike around Fiesta Island? I said, what? I said, whoa, I haven't gone there in a long time. Immediately it sparked enthusiasm. I said, I know. Yesterday I was supposed to be here in Mission Bay somewhere, and I was going to work on my song Via Dolorosa. For the first time in a long time, I picked up my bass guitar, and boy does it need a freaking cleaning, man. It really does, because I haven't used it. And this is a it's called a PV-T40. It's an American made, I think this is early 70s, and it's been through hell. It's all original. It needs some switching replaced here, but they still work. If you use your fingernails, they still work. Everything works, and you can move the switches here if you got like some kind of a small flathead screwdriver, and it'll push the knob. And I didn't know, what I like is the Rickenbacker from the guy Yes, and also from man, what is his name? John Entwistle from The Who, his bass sound. But I think John Entwistle made his bass, and the guy from Yes, I can't believe I can't remember his name, damn it. And I love Yes, but I love how his bass sounds. And I found out that this is the closest you will ever get to a Rickenbacker. I said, what? Yeah, I was reading up on it, on this particular model, the PV-T40, that this is the closest you will get to getting the sound of a Rickenbacker, because of all the switchings that it has, and something about the body. I mean, it's really heavy too. And I said, whoa. So I got really excited, and I've kept it ever since. The strings are also new, but I need to get it adjusted, and a lot of stuff done, and keep it up and get a case for it. I don't have a case. So I said, I said, yesterday I was supposed to do this and work on the song with the bass. And then I brought I said, bring your bass, and I said, bring your toy here, your amp modeling thing. I mean, it's a really nice unit too, the Headrush Flex Prime. And they just announced that, and I downloaded that they upgraded the firmware with a drum machine. And I downloaded it, and oh wow, man. So I'm gonna connect this guy, and I've got my reference monitors there, as you can see there. And as you can see, it's a bright sunny day right now, and I get all the power, man, electricity, to run everything. And guess what? It's gonna be freaking loud. And I mean loud. So I said, okay. I said, bring your thingamajig. And then I said, well, I don't have any picks for a bass. So I went and bought these guys. And I don't know anything about bass picks or anything like that. But I did read that the guy from Yes used heavy gauge. I don't use heavy gauge for my electric guitars, that's for sure. So I said, well, how do I know what, So I just looked up all the heavy gauge picks, and I found these just to see which one would work best. And these are all heavy gauge. This one has a slight bend. This one has a little more slight bend. This one I like because it got this rubber thingamajig by Fender. Something Pioso grip. I forget what it is, 96 millimeter. I said, man, this looks really nice, so, and you got a nice grip. And then you got this guy, a little more. So I said, one of these has got to work. This one's really, really thick. And I said, and I started reading, well, how did, the guy from Yes play his bass? Well, he played his bass mostly down here, Can you hear that? That's kind of neat. I don't know if this one's going to work. I don't know, we'll see. And this guy, that's really thick. It's too thick. Yeah, so this one feels pretty nice. Also, this guy here. So anyhow, I'm going to be getting some some serious callus in my fingers today, and I'll probably get some blisters too, where I probably won't be able to play for a day or two. I'm pretty sure I'll get some blisters. I got some callus right now, but there's a lot on this one here. I don't know if you can see that. You see that round thing? That's callus. That's from the electric guitar. And but for the bass, it's different, you know. So anyhow, so I said, you know what? I said, bring some munchies. So I brought myself, you know, a bunch of great stuff, you know, to munch on. I got my stove in the back and everything, and I did steal some toilet paper because I need some toilet paper from the bathrooms over there in Mission Bay. Well, what am I supposed to do? You know, I mean, it's not really stealing. I mean, they're giving them away, right? I mean, you go to the bathroom, they providing toilet paper, so it's free, right? It's free, technically. You know, it's not like I went to somebody's house and, you know, stole it. No, that's stealing. So, yeah, I'm justifying my act. It's borderline theft. Anyways, it was really nice to go on the bike ride. I went all around the island, and I did the long circle, but it was really, really nice to ride it. I would have probably gone another circle, but I said, you know what? I came here. I wanted to do a circle on the bike. I wanted to play the bass. I wanted to set up that module thing correctly. And then when the sun starts going down, well, then I'll start reading some scripture. I hope I frickin' brought it. Yes, I did. Here it is. Yeah. So anyways, I found this at the library many years ago for a couple of dollars. I don't know, $2, $3, I think. I think it was like $2 or $3. And I said, really? So I looked it over, and it was in really good condition, and somebody put the names of it all over, and I said, I'm taking this. So I've had it ever since. It's been many years with it, and so I'll be reading that once the sun starts going down. I got some update from the passport, the United States Department of I can't remember, and they said that they needed to see my birth certificate from Mexico. They didn't deny me, so I think everything is going to go well. I had to mail the original, and you know, I paid for a really nice envelope at the post office, and they should be receiving it, the post office said, this Saturday. But that's all they said. They said, we just want to see something that says you were born a male. About my gender. I'm like, what? Hey, I don't want to argue with them, man. You don't want to argue with them. Just do what they say. I said, all right. So the only thing I have is, well, my passport. I mean, I gave him my driver's license, a copy of it. I'm like, isn't that enough? I don't know, you guys. Like I said, you know, I'm not going to argue with them and dispute it, you know, gender discrimination of some sort. I said, just do what they tell you, man. I said, all right. So I took a screenshot of my birth certificate, and I sharpened it really nice so that they can see every letter, because it's in really, really tiny print. And then I wrote on a separate note, I said, Dear Department of whatever Justice, I don't remember what it was. Unfortunately, both my parents are deceased, and I have no other family to help with such documents, and this is all I have, my birth certificate. And I said, on the left side, there's my fingerprint, and below it, it says, hijo, which means son. And then on the top paragraph, I said, on the first top paragraph, it says, Carlos and Matilda have given birth to a son named Mario. Well, now you're going to know my name. Well, you know my name if you go. Anyways, I keep telling you guys that Damien is just a stage name, but my real legal name is Mario. And so in the letter, I said to them, you know, it's in the fingerprint right next to on the side of the birth certificate. And also it says on the first paragraph, born male. So I said, okay. I don't know why they would ask that, so don't ask me. And I said, this is all I have, I said, for documents. So, I mean, I guess I could, if they asked for more, because they said something about school records. Well, I said, I know where I went to school, Bayer Middle School, and also Smythe was the preschool, but I don't think Smythe is there anymore. But I know Bayer is there, yes. And I said, I was under 18 there, so I said I could go over there and ask for them if they still have it. I'm sure they still do. So we'll see what happens. I did pay for the expedite service. Once that happens, I want to go down to Baja to look at this place down in Baja, San Quintin. I'm only going to be gone for less than a week. I don't think I'm going to go to courtside, because if I go to courtside, it's just going to be another expense. And that's what I don't want anymore. I was very lucky that this month, my paycheck, my disability check, I was able to see almost $380 some, I think it was. January comes, I should have at least $400, maybe even $500 more, because also there's an increase with the cost of living adjustment. It's not a lot, but it's something. And I said, wow, man, I don't have to pay for this, that. So I should have like $500. So that means I might have close to $2,500 for the trailer. Because once I got get the trailer, you still got to get some accessories for the trailer before you pull it. You know, you got to go somewhere and make sure that all the electricity is connected properly, that it's working. Maybe a sway bar, I'm not sure. Anyways, the point is that I think that if I went to courtside, I think I would be just wasting money, and I need to be patient and save all the money I can. I'd rather save the money and then go to courtside. Or who knows, if I like the RV spot this guy is offering, I'll just go straight down there and stay there for indefinitely, you know, and not ever come back to San Diego. Well, not never, but... So yeah, I'm not going to go there. It just sounds like a big expense. I would love to know the experience, have the experience of the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. There'll be another one, you know, next year. You don't want to stay past, once entering March, then it starts to get warm, and then people start leaving. I don't want to be there when the tarantulas, snakes, and scorpions start coming out, man. Hell no. So I think I'm just going to stay put, but go to Baja, though, and my money will be stretched out a lot more. And also, they're going to take away from the SNAP benefits, and also from my medical insurance. So I'm like, well, what's the freaking point, man, of staying here? You know, they used to give me $100 in food help from Molina Healthcare. Now they're going to drop it to from 75 to almost 60, I think. Really? And then the over-the-counter benefits were 100 before. Now they're going to drop it to 30 some dollars. I'm like, what? Man, I depended a lot on those supplements, you know. I used to get a lot of great supplements too. And now they're going to drop it off starting in January to $35? Wow. And then the food stamp, the SNAP benefits, you know, Trump is now wanting everyone to start, people 55 and over, he wants everyone to start either volunteering somewhere 40 hours a week or, 40 hours a month. I know it's not a lot, okay, I know it's not a lot. Or you're only going to get them for 3 months and then that's it. Okay, I know it would probably help me to go out and volunteer a lot, you know, for my mental health. I'm sure it will. Okay, so, you know, but do I want to stay living in that freaking shithole? No. No. So that means I would have to buy the trailer and get out. So all the food that you've been saving in from Molina and the SNAP reduced a lot. So I said, I might as well go to Baja then, because food is inexpensive out there. You're not going to waste a lot of money in gas because you're going to be parked, you know, at this person's spot. You got a nice mountain bike, you know. You're not going to waste a whole lot of gas. Anyways, you guys, I know I probably bored you by now. Hopefully once I get down to Baja, I'll be able to buy one of those. You see them? It's a paddle board. I want a paddle board. Anyways, you guys, the sun's going down. I can see it already. I can see the temperature, color temperature just dropped. So it's time to play the bass. Well, thank you for watching, you guys. Say goodbye to Max. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to Max.